everybody. We're live from the birdhouse. We're getting in towards the end of July. It's already July 25th. And today I'll be talking about some of the different birds people are seeing in their yard and show you some of the products people are using as problem solvers for different things or things that have been helpful for these summer months. As always, we love to know who's on. You can say hi in the comments. If you have any questions, you can throw those in there too. And we always love to know what kind of things you're seeing. So put those in the comments. Also, we're getting lots of reports of baby birds. There's baby birds all over the feeders here at the store. Lots of baby I guess I should say young bluebirds, young red-bellied woodpeckers. Their feathers aren't fully grown in. A lot of the blue jays look a little bit bald, like they don't have all their feathers on their head. So lots of fun stuff out there. This weekend at the store, we do have our puzzle swap. The last weekend of every month, we have our jigsaw puzzle swap, which is very, very popular, and that is going on all day Saturday and all day Sunday. So you can come in anytime that we're open, which is 10 to 6 on Saturday, 10 to 5 on Sunday, and you can bring in your jigsaw puzzles and swap them out for some that are new to you. So that's going on all this weekend, which is the 29th and 30th of July. So first of all, as far as things people are seeing in their yards, Orioles are kind of hit or miss with people. The people who are getting them are getting a lot of them, and they seem to be getting not only the adults, but the juveniles as well. The adults are bringing the juveniles back to their feeders. The juveniles are starting to come out on their own without the parents too. We're getting reports of that. And they're eating a combination of different things. So the jelly is one, of course, the birdberry jelly. They absolutely love this. This is a mix of the grape and blackberry, and there's no artificial sweeteners or preservatives or anything like that in it. So this is really, really great for the Orioles. They're also eating lots of mealworms still. So we are going through lots of mealworms, both freeze-dried, and we have live mealworms as well. So we have a whole bunch of those in stock. So you might not only get Orioles coming to your mealworms, you might be getting things like wrens and chickadees and bluebirds if you're lucky enough to have bluebirds. So we do have both of those in stock, both the jelly and the mealworms, to keep your Orioles happy. And it doesn't have to be in anything too elaborate, just a little dish, something like this. You can put the jelly in, you can put the mealworms in. And what a lot of people are doing also is putting on a weather guard, especially with rainy weather like we're supposed to get today. These weather guards will help keep the jelly dry so it doesn't get all washed out, and it will also keep the mealworms protected so they don't either wash out, or if you've got live mealworms, they don't get all flooded. So we do have weather guards in different colors as well. We've got some for regular feeders as well. If you want to try to mix it up with different colors, the clear one's really popular, and people use that with all kinds of different feeders. So Orioles are still around. They'll still be around for about another month or so, but they do start to kind of head back down south towards mid-August or so, mid to late August. That being said, hummingbirds are still around, and they'll be around through Labor Day or so. So we do have different things for hummingbirds, and we have things like ant repellents. So if you are getting ants trying to get into your hummingbird feeder especially, or even in your Oriole feeder, if they're climbing up a pole, this is one thing that you can do. It's a little gel, and if you can kind of see in the picture here, you can put a little ring of the gel either around the pole or around the feeder itself, and there's a smell to it that the ants don't like, and this works really, really well. We've gotten such good reviews about this. This is a really good way to keep the ants out. Or you can do something simple like this. The ant moat, or the nectar protector, goes by different names. This is super, super easy. You just fill it with water, and then you hang your feeder underneath it, and the ants can't get around the water to get down to the feeder below. So these are really easy ways to keep ants out of your feeder. We do have a new product also. I didn't pull it, but I should have, called Cant, C''ANT, and that is supposed to keep wasps out of the feeder as well. If you rub some of that around the feeding ports of your feeder, it has a minty smell, and the bees and wasps don't like that, and that will scare them away. We also have fake bald-faced hornets nests, and bees and wasps can be quite territorial. So if you put up one of these fake bald-faced hornets nests, it's like a little paper lantern type of a thing. They will think that there are bald-faced hornets around, which are really, really nasty if you've ever encountered them. And the bees and wasps tend to go elsewhere. So we do have some things to also keep them out of your feeders as well. But as far as hummingbirds go, we do have things to keep the nectar fresh longer as well, like this nectar defender. You add just a little bit of this liquid to your nectar and it will keep it fresh longer, more like a week or 10 days instead of just a few days. And we also have the powder that has that included in it. So this you just mix with water, and it does include this nectar defender, so you don't have to double up and add this on top of this. So we do have both of those in stock as well, especially if you're going to be going out of town and you don't want to leave your hummingbirds hanging without any kind of food. That's a really good way to keep their nectar fresh for a long time. So we've got all those in. We've been getting lots of questions about goldfinches not coming to feeders as often. Goldfinches nest really late in the season, so now is their nesting time. So if you're not seeing that many of them, that could be why. They could be hanging around the nest. They could be incubating eggs. And also the thing about goldfinches are they don't eat any insects. So they eat basically just all seeds all the time. So they will ultimately come back to your bird feeder. They just might not be there at the moment. So one thing you can do, and you should do, is first of all, make sure that your feeder is clean. If there's any kind of mold in it, if you look at the bottom and it looks like the seed is old or moldy, you definitely want to clean that out. Clean the feeder out really well, because the finches don't like a feeder that's dirty at all, and it's not good for them anyway. But another thing you can do is try this finch blend. So this is called Finch Favorite, and it's a mix of not only the Niger seed that they like, but the sunflower hearts. So there's ground up sunflower hearts in there. That's what the light colored thing is, if you can see those. And the finch mix is great. It's called Finch Favorite because there's things in here that other birds will eat too besides the finches. So if you aren't seeing that many, if you switch up to this, you might start getting other birds coming to your finch feeders in the meantime. But the finches do really love those ground up sunflower hearts too. So it might just give them something a little bit extra, another reason to come to your feeder. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing is if you are finding that your feeder is getting moldy. So if you're finding that, you've got some debris down here that's getting white or even black with mold, that's never good. Make sure that your feeder is easy to clean. Like we have these that have bases that pop right out. So they're super simple to clean. So that's one thing you can do. You can also add this, what's called Feeder Fresh. It's the same company that makes this nectar defender for the hummingbird feeders. This is their original product, really. It's called Feeder Fresh, and it's just little granules made specifically for bird feeders. It doesn't harm the birds in any way. You pour a little bit of this into the very bottom of your bird feeder. You fill it with seed, and then you top it off with a little bit more, and it'll just absorb any kind of liquid and moisture that gets into the feeder. So that's one way to keep your Niger seed fresh longer. And the Niger seed can go bad after 2 or 3 months. Sometimes it can dry out, and you won't get finches then either if the seed is getting old. So that's something else that you can do. And then just like we have the weather guards for oriole feeders and we have them for hummingbird feeders, a lot of people will use these weather guards for the finch feeders to keep the moisture out of them. So that's another option too. If you're not having luck with finches this time of the year, you're not alone. There's quite a few people are saying that same thing, but just like the orioles, it's kind of hit or miss. Not everybody is getting them, but the people that are seem to be getting quite a few. So, and then another bird update as far as your other feeders go. If you've got some kind of a feeder like this, like a sunflower seed feeder, something that you've got mixed seed in, you might be getting lots of grackles and starlings. We were getting lots of reports of them, lots of young birds out there. And the grackles are migratory, so they will ultimately go down south. But if they're eating you out of house and home, keep in mind you can always feed them the safflower seed because they don't like that. So you can put the safflower seed in your sunflower feeder or mixed seed feeder, which has holes that are larger than, say, the finch feeders. And this will attract cardinals, house finches, lots of chickadees, things like that. But the grackles and the starlings do not like the safflower seed. So that's one way to kind of discourage them if they are really overrunning your feeders. And you might see that with the grackles, especially as they start getting ready to migrate to go back down south for the winter, which around Labor Day again is when they really start to flow down there. So you might see more and more of them coming to your feeder. So keep that in mind. You can always switch your seed up, and they don't really like it. So one thing we're doing in the store here too is we are raising monarch butterfly caterpillars. So if you've been in the store, you might see our big tote full of caterpillars. I just threw some new fresh milkweed in there today, and you can do that at home too, which is a lot of fun. And we have the things that you would need to do that if you are interested. It's fairly easy to find them if you look for milkweed out in fields. Look for the little stripy caterpillars, or look for even eggs on leaves. And we have different things that you can use to raise them. Depending on how many you want to raise, you might need a bigger container, but we do have pop-up butterfly kits like this. So this one is a kit that actually comes with a coupon to get butterflies sent to you, or get, I should say, caterpillars sent to you. So this, you get painted lady caterpillars mailed to you that you can raise in this pop-up, which is a lot of fun. It's fun for both kids and adults. And what a lot of people do is they raise some of the caterpillars, and then they'll use this pop-up. It's a little pop-up kind of mesh tent. They'll use that to then raise things like the monarch butterfly caterpillars. So we do have these kits in stock, and they have everything that you need to raise the painted lady butterflies, and they will send you those caterpillars right in the mail. They send them, I think it's next day mail, because they are alive. We also have the little pop-up. This is quite a bit smaller, but this is fun if you're going outside and catching some insects with some kids. We've got these little pop-up portable insect cages, as well as some that are a little bit more sturdy here too. This one has a handle. This is called the critter cage, so you can put a little bit of everything in it. And it does come with an activity book too for kids, which is fun. So we do have all these kind of insect carriers, and then we have them for other creatures as well. So this is called the critter box. This is all plastic. There's no holes in it, so you can put water in it. So this is good if you're catching tadpoles or something like that. And it does come with a tiny, tiny little net. I'm not totally sure what you can catch with this, not too much, but it has a little magnifying glass too. So lots of fun stuff for outdoor activities for kids this summer. And we do have little binoculars and things as well for them. And then if you're trying to attract some different creatures, if you will, to your backyard, we do have some different things that are available here. Let me grab them. The first being toad houses. We've been getting several people asking about toad houses, and we do have a few different ones in stock. This one's probably our best seller. It's really simple. It's just a little dome, like a glazed dome with a hole cut out in it. And the idea with these is if you put it, especially by a porch light that attracts a lot of insects, the toad will hide in here during the day, and at night it comes out to catch all those insects. So this is just a little toad house. So we have different types of toad houses. And if you have mason bee houses, keep an eye out for what are called leaf cutter bees. If you're in your garden and you see that there's some plants that have almost little semicircles cut out of them, or almost looks like almost a full circle, like really, really clean cut circles bitten out of them, those are from what are called leaf cutter bees. And leaf cutter bees will use these mason bee houses. So if you see little pieces of leaf debris sticking out of your mason bee houses, that's what they're from. They're from leaf cutter bees. So that's happening now. I've seen lots of pictures online of people asking, what are these things in my garden? What's causing this to my plants? And those are the leaf cutter bees, which we do have around here. So even like rose plants and things like that, they'll go after. And then as far as butterflies go, we do have different things to attract them. Really, the best thing you can do is put out blooming plants that they like. And we've talked about butterfly gardening a lot. So any kind of nectar producing plants are very, very good for them. But we also have some different things too to kind of give you a leg up. Also, we have what are called butterfly and bee nectar feeders. So this is new this year. And this, it's kind of hard to tell, but this is a little sponge here in the center. And there's also like these little cups here for nectar, or you can put little tiny pieces of fruit in there. But the sponge is made to absorb some nectar, and we do have butterfly nectar that's infused with different salts and things, which is really good for them. So if you pour some of that on this spongy material, it'll attract lots of bees is probably what you're mainly going to get, but also some butterflies too. So butterflies and bees will come to this. They'll land on here and they'll kind of siphon off the nectar with their proboscis, or if they're a bee, with their tongue. So we do have that. It's kind of different, brand new this year. And then back in stock, we also have our bee and butterfly baths. So this almost, it's like a little bird bath almost, but it comes with some rocks and things to give it different kind of strata so you can attract bees and butterflies to a water source. So we have these back in stock as well. You can just set these in the middle of a garden to help attract the bees and the butterflies. And if you're looking to try to detract bees from coming to your hummingbird feeders or even oriole feeders, you can use something like that, like a dish, and instead of putting water in it, put super, super sugary solution in it, and they tend to go to that and leave your leave your hummingbird and oriole feeders alone. So that's something else you can do. Let's see, it looks like there's several people on, and Lynn has a question or a comment here. Let's see, Lynn says, can the finch favorite get through the holes in the upside down feeder? Thanks. Yes, it can. So the finch seed here, the finch favorite, yeah, that's made for any kind of a finch or Niger seed feeder, which has smaller holes. So the reason she asks is because the holes on these are significantly smaller than, say, the sunflower seed feeders. So you do need a different type of feeder in order to feed the finches. And yes, they go through the holes of the upside down feeders as well. And people get upside down finch feeders to keep sparrows and things off of their finch feeders, which can help. The goldfinches can tip over upside down to feed, but the sparrows have a hard time doing that. So that's one way to keep sparrows out of your finch feeder if that's an issue that you're having. And Dina is on, and she says, hi, everyone. Do you carry an upside-down feeder? Yes, we do. Yeah, we have upside-down feeders for finches. We also have upside-down feeders for suet, and those are, again, will help keep sparrows off. They will help keep the starlings, the grackles. So we do have different upside-down feeders available here. Let's see, Ed is on. He said we had a big Luna moth show up the other night. Couldn't get a photo because it was on the second floor screen, but he was gorgeous. Awesome. So we've been talking a little bit about the giant silk moths that are out there. And Ed has sent in pictures before of a Luna moth, and they're just gorgeous, gorgeous. I still have some of those pictures. I'll share those with you on Saturday. I was looking for some this past weekend on Saturday, but I think it was a little too cold. I didn't have any luck myself, but that's really cool that they're still out there. So keep an eye out on your screens, especially if they're by any kind of a light at night, and who knows what might show up. Dina says, sparrows are eating me out of house and home. Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of babies out there now. They have many broods every year, and they'll keep breeding probably for another month or so. So there's probably more to come. Steel Monkey says, hi, I was wondering, it's been exceptionally hot this year. Could that be one of the reasons for the lack of hummingbirds? I've only seen 3. You know, it's hard to say. I'm not sure. I don't know if that has affected them in any way. I would think it might have more to do with different resources being scarce, but I'm really not too sure. They're so small. It makes you wonder if things like higher temperatures do affect them in ways that don't affect other birds that are larger. So I'm not totally sure about that, but that's a really good question. And that's one we should ask some hummingbird experts to see if they know anything about that. But that looks like that's everybody's comments and questions for the day. We'll be back on Saturday with another broadcast. And until then, have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.